Well, we're back. And we just heard from Professor Ken, who helps us help customers find you on the website and on the mobile devices. Well, now we have another guest speaker with us today, and that speaker is Mr. Ron Krudo. Mr. Ron Krudo is a managing partner of Equiturn Business Solutions. Well, Mr. Krudo likes to keep things very simple but very powerful. So he has some hobbies that he loves. Mr. Krudo loves fishing. He loves hiking. He loves food, man after my own heart. And you can always catch him on Instagram. But right now, you're going to catch him right now presenting to you and letting you know everything you need to know to grow your business on via internet. Mr. Krudo.
Thank you so much, Johnny. I really appreciate it. I'm very excited to be here. Probably one of the best bios I've gotten hands down so far. I'll take that any day of the week. So thank you. I definitely, for myself, I worked for and started Equiturn Business Solutions. We're a full service small business consulting firm. We offer marketing, finance, operations, and sales. My focus is in the marketing and operations side. I love the way that messaging can make a difference and how people make the impact within your business. So today I'm going to be talking to you more on the side of the marketing and what are some of the hottest trends and tools in 2021. And I was just telling the team, I'm already looking to 2022, but there's so much within 2021 that's being expanded on and growing over the next year that I'm so excited to share these with you, because I think if you can even take two of these trends and apply them in something you're doing today, I think that you'll be ahead of the curve of most small businesses, especially when it comes to your marketing. And I know that you've been doing different presentations throughout this whole day. And I know there was a number of presentations specifically on online marketing and e-commerce and digital marketing. I'm going to touch on some of the bigger picture trends that you probably will be able to build connections to some of the presentations you saw before. So I hope this helps. And just to open things up, I always like to ask the group, and you can plug it here in the chat. I'm trying to follow as I go, but I always like to ask everybody, what's some of the hot marketing trends you see in 2021 that you've at least experienced, things that you've noticed, and things that are on your radar for what you believe in the future is going to make a difference. And I'm going to touch on 10 of them today, but I promise you there's 20, 30 marketing changes every single day. So I'm just kind of curious, what's some of the hot trends you guys think are out there? And I'm going to keep going through the presentation, but I do want to hear from you, because at the end of the day, marketing is about our target audience, and you're my audience. I want to know who is out there in the room. What are you guys seeing as your personal trends? Also, what businesses are you involved in? What type of industries do you work with? You can throw them up in the chat as we're going through the presentation, and I'm going to keep an eye on it. I'm looking over here to the right here and there, but I love to hear from you guys and learn from all of you as we go through this. So to open things up, I do like to, again, tell you a little more about myself, because I think it helps kind of lay the road as to why I believe so much in marketing and keeping an eye on the trends. So as Johnny explained, I have a lot of hobbies, Instagram being definitely one of them. I spend way too much time on it. TikTok now too, scrolling and the deep TikTok holes that you can get into as you're sitting there. It's very dangerous, but I'm also a father of one with a baby on the way, a beautiful wife. I love adventure. I take my son hiking all the time. So this picture to me is like business in the front, party in the back. So business to me is managing partner at Equiturn, doing marketing on a daily basis, developing strategies for starting and small businesses that are looking to grow. And then fun me is out there with my kid, enjoying nature and exploring. And so I hope that this is an experience for you guys to get to know me as your audience as much as you're my audience.
Our new website launches in a month. Great work, everyone. Launch means marketing, though, and marketing means content. We need something that's like punchy and shareable and does well on social. Who was the customer again?
Millennials.
That's right. They're so great. Okay, so let's hear your ideas. What do you got? Nice.
Okay, wait, I have something much better.
Oh, nice. I like it. Can we make it go viral? Let's check in with the social media managers.
Oh my god, look at this tiny hamster eat a tiny burrito.
Oh my god, it's so tiny.
I'm so dead.
That's not good enough. It's ideation time.
Siri, what does on fleek mean?
Tell us what our customer wants. Concentrate harder.
Wait, guys. You know we haven't tried yet?
Come on! Yes, man. You can do it! Open the box!
Come on, Paige Social.
What's up with marketing? I think this is just how they brainstorm. Seems labor intensive. Yep.
Brainstorm better with the customer voice. Download the free Conductor Insights app to see what your customer is searching for.
All right, so at the end of the day, I hope that was just a fun, lighthearted video to connect you guys to marketing. I know that a lot of my friends always ask me, what exactly do you do in marketing? How do you read into people's minds and put ads on their pages? It's not as eventful as that video might show it, but it is a lot of that creative thinking, kind of getting outside the box, figuring out the messaging and who your audience is and how to get it in front of them. And that comes alongside knowing the recent trends and what's going on in the marketplace today. Honestly, there is such an impact on digital marketing because of the pandemic. There was clearly a nationwide lockdown that caused us all to move online. Even this event right now is virtual because there was a clear-cut need to keep people connected. And digital marketing and online spaces were the difference in that. And a part of that is doing these types of virtual events. The global B2C commerce, just in 2021, leading from 2020 into 2021, sales are expected to reach over 4.5 trillion by 2021. So a lot of people see e-commerce as only paid products. You can also see service in that. And if you're thinking about 4.5 trillion in e-commerce, even if you could take a small chunk of that, if you're in the B2C industry, it would be unbelievable. And if you're not online now, or if you're not looking for the trends to how to get ahead of it, even if you are online, you're going to lose that wave. And it's already trending very close to this before the end of the year. A majority of events went virtual in 2020, causing that rise of a virtual work and event space. So the reason I talk about this is because when you talk about your marketing and when you're addressing the trends, there are a lot of people now living a very different life than they were living a year ago. And that's important to consider as we're looking at the different trends in marketing, because those are people that are your target audiences. And social media buying overall accounted for almost 24% of US budgets from quarter Q2 of 2020, pretty much saying that they've now decided to double down on their investment and put more funds into social media budgets over traditional marketing services, TV ads, newspapers, billboards. This was a much smaller percentage leading into 2021 now. So what does this mean for us? It means a lot of change. It means a lot of people have now lived different lives, and we need to reassess how we're marketing to the individuals that we want to convert, the people that we want to generate into leads. So social media, trend number one, is more to engage and retain than it is just to gain new leads. I know that all of us on here, or at least a majority of us, have probably tried once doing a social media ad or paid advertising, doing Google. I know a lot of people on this call have talked about it. Sometimes we forget that we're so focused on generating new clients that there's a clear-cut opportunity with the existing clientele that we're working with today to re-engage them and retain them and get them to buy more. It's actually been found that retention is cheaper than attainment. Retaining a client costs much less than actually trying to find someone new. That cost of acquiring a client, the CAC, is a lot less when you're just engaging with people that have already bought. And the pandemic overall increased the amount of time people are spending on social media. I'm sure all of us were glued to our phones. If you have that screen time app, I kept getting alerted every single day because all I would do is be sitting on my phone. I was home. Even now, working from home, for a lot of people, you have so much more access to your social media. You're so much more interconnected because you haven't seen your friends and family for so long. And even getting into 2021, people are more active online than ever before because they feel more comfortable. From shopping to engaging to building relationships, it's all done online. And that's why I stress the fact that if you can focus your energy on retaining those clients through social media, it'll be a lot cheaper for you overall. And you want to dedicate more resources to social media overall from across the board. It doesn't have to be monetary resources though. And this is somewhere that's a topic that a lot of people are mistaken by. You don't have to spend a lot of money to reach a lot of people. You just have to spend the time. And if you feel like that audience is on Instagram or Facebook, 2021 is the time to start engaging them more, commenting on their posts, liking their stuff, retaining them, pushing additional information to the people that are already connected with you. And the tools to get that done, and I'm always going to do this on each slide, just so you know, I'm going to give you the trend that's happening and what tools can you use to capitalize on that trend. So affordable tools to keep yourself consistent online and be able to retain and engage your existing audiences. You can use Buffer, Hootsuite, or Later. Those 3 platforms allow you to schedule posts, manage your paid advertising, oversee the post you have over a period of a calendar. And they all have a very, very affordable entry level point for a small business. Buffer, Hootsuite, and Later.com. Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok and YouTube are probably the best areas for retention if you're trying to re-engage somebody or retarget them after engaging with them in the past. I always try to stress to people though, if you are a B2B business, really focusing on LinkedIn. I don't touch on this in my trends, but LinkedIn has actually been a really big push this year, has done a really big push, excuse me. I see Johnny shaking his head, you don't, but I do. And it is amazing what they've done to allow for story posts, boosting your post properly. So if you are a B2B business, I don't list it there, but definitely that's another location to engage and retain. Your clients are a relationship. They're not just a business. They're not just someone paying you for a product or a service. They are a relationship. Use social media to capitalize on it. I personally get most of my leads from referrals. So if I use my social media to constantly be active and tagging my contacts, tagging the people I'm working with and the relationships and the businesses I'm consulting, it helps me more than spending money on leads all the time. So try to use these tools, try to be more consistent in your social media posting, and you'll see a drastic change in the impact because of just how much people are online now more than ever before. Number 2 is Google My Business is crucial. Now, this is more of a brick and mortar thing just to keep in mind. Google My Business doesn't allow for certain e-commerce businesses to be listed, but it is very crucial if you are a brick and mortar business to make sure your Google My Business page is fully updated, allows for reviews, the proper imagery, because it's an all-in-one Google listing and allows you for local focused area SEO, search engine optimization, meaning that if you have a location surrounding where I am right now, North Fort Lauderdale area, anybody who searches in my surrounding area will see my listing because I have a Google My Business page. And the pandemic did something really interesting. If it didn't push people to want to shop online, it did push people to want to verify your business. Check if you're open. Check what your business is like during the pandemic. Check reviews. A Google My Business page is actually the first stop for a lot of clients nowadays because it is the first place to understand what's going on in your business after everything that happened. I have tons of businesses that I used to love going to eat dinner at, hanging out at, or picking up shopping supplies for the house, and they're closed, or they changed their hours, or they're not as safe as they used to be. So this is a really important place to be, especially with everything going on in 2021. And like I was saying before, it's one of the highest traffic Google search and location finders. If you don't have a Google My Business page, you're not showing up properly. You'll be found on the search, but you won't be found on Google Maps. You won't be found as a location near you. It really is now more than ever a crucial part of an overall marketing strategy. So if you have a brick and mortar business, do this. Even if you don't have a brick and mortar business in your e-commerce, but have an office space or have a fulfillment center, you can sometimes also do that to be able to connect your Google My Business page. Things to look for, because in your page, you're going to be able to add tags and services and give descriptions about your business. So what I always tell people to do is look at a tool called SEM Rush, Search Engine Marketing Rush. It gives you free reports on your website and on your competitors' websites and traffic. If you want to do a lot of reports and research and data, then you have to pay for it. But in the free level, it does allow you to have a free analysis. If you're looking for one and they don't provide it to you for some reason, I do pay for the service, and I have a little link on my website that gives you a free report. If you ever just want to look at it, it's a free website analysis, but it'll allow you to know what your competitors are using for keywords on their business listings so that you can do them on yours. Same thing with Google Trends. Google Trends gives you the opportunity to take a look at what's currently trending in the marketplace for people and what are the key terms that they're looking for. And that'll be perfect keywords for your SEO within your Google My Business listing. So I try to recommend go to CMrush, go to Google Trends, and of course, to be able to build your Google My Business listing, you got to go to Google My Business. If you search that, you can set it up. Make sure you go through the full verification process. It's very tedious. They made it even more tedious in 2021. But it is a very important and very helpful tool to have, especially in today's day and age with all the trends happening right now where people are searching online to know if you're open and available. Trend number 3, automated bidding for ads. It used to be that my team would have to spend days, hours, minutes changing ads, updating information, replacing words, reviewing what the consumer is looking at. With today's AI systems and algorithms, they've taken a lot of the weight off of our shoulders, a lot of the weight off of your shoulders. There's tools to automatically generate the different phrases within a Google campaign or even a social media campaign. It'll write up the copy if you just give it general suggestions. I didn't list those here actually, now I'm thinking about it. But if you have any questions about that, just having a tool that auto-generates ad copy for you, let me know. You can send it in the chat and they'll follow up with me later. But constantly tweaking your ads and budgets is just a thing of the past. It's crucial in marketing, but now the bots are doing it for you. There's a tool called Smart Ads with Google, where you can literally put a set of ad copy that you feel is appropriate for your business. They'll automatically rank it among a certain audience using their algorithms and only rank the words and the listings that are doing the best, depending on the preferences and interests of the person looking for it. They've done all the tough work for you. So if you're not doing a smart ad with Google or using some kind of AI-based software, or if you're not sitting back and relaxing and not stressing about what's happening with your ads the first month when you're not making leads, then you're approaching it the wrong way. That's something I actually experience a lot. And I hate to say it because I know that it's only from a place of care and compassion, but a lot of people get very scared when they start their marketing campaigns, especially now because they don't realize what's changed so much within Google and these different platforms, and they cut off their budgets or they stop their marketing. But with the way that the systems run today, they're actually doing a lot of the legwork for you, and you just have to let them do it. It's going to cost you a little bit of money. It's like investing in something and then it ends up returning for you. But when it starts to return, it's tremendous. Like I had a client literally last month. We just launched their business a month and a half ago. They hadn't gotten a single lead, spent about $1,500. And I kept telling them, I was like, you're in a high profile space that they spend a lot of money in marketing on. You have to give the algorithm a chance to catch up, to see what your competitors have been falling short on and allow your ad copy to stand out and meet the right consumer. And we literally got our first lead today, and he's already traffic on his website has quadrupled over a period of 2 weeks. So if you just give yourself the patience, it's tough, but with this huge trend of automated bidding is really changing the way that we can approach marketing in the future. It's doing all the science and the algorithms that people used to have to sit and analyze for days. And so, like I was saying here, it's changed so much, and it's already been a trend since 2016. And I really believe this is going to ultimately lead to the point where you're going to spend more money in the beginning to get yourself running, but your pay per click, your PPC performance will actually wind up being lower to acquire more clients, because it'll automatically adjust itself to ensure that you're not spending more than you're actually gaining in revenue. And you can set those as goals in Google. That's why I put here Google Ad Scripts and Google Ads link checker, because they'll actually review the different links and copy that has been most successful and give you guys recommendations on what you could put within your Google ads or in your copy on social media. Basis by Centro and Funnel.io allow you to develop different funnels of your ads and develop a strategy among how you're going to take each step of the relationship with the consumer, so that you kind of track everything and put it all into place, so that then the bots and the AIs do the rest of the work of optimizing the ads. And of course, Google Ads Manager. If you've never gone to Google Ads Manager or Google Analytics, it's very important to understand them and take a look at smart ads, do some research on them. That to me is a part of the future of advertising and management. It's actually going to make it to where you don't need people like myself to do the work, as long as you're confident and trust the system, even when it spends a little bit, and you take the time to write the right copy. And drop those questions in the chat, by the way. I know that I'm going to get them at the end. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. I don't want to make it seem like I'm just rushing through this. I'm the kind of guy that like points in the audience, gets everybody engaged. So bear with me, but definitely write your questions in the chat. So number 4, which is actually something that it's more common than you think. And when I talk about it right now, you're all going to be like, wow, I do that all the time. So voice search is on the rise. How many of you have ever sat there and taken your phone out and said, Google, find me this. Siri, where is this? Okay, Google. That is now a part of marketing. Google is recommending things to you and retargeting you using your voice searches. But it has to translate your voice and your questions into algorithms and sentences and information within their software to then regurgitate solutions. So it's currently not a part of the overall Google algorithm, but it will be developing different results over time. They are plugging it in. They're plugging it in as phrases, but they're re-regurgitating it to work within their systems to give them the best solutions. But since it's available to some extent, it's really important that we start thinking very specifically and optimizing our copy, considering what we think people would voice to search. So if you've ever done a keyword search, an AdWords campaign, or if you've ever considered doing an AdWords campaign, you could put like specific phrases. So it saves you a little bit of money. You're not just searching every little word in the sentence, but come up with what specific phrases are words and sentences that people would say to their phone. That might be different than what you're actually typing in Google. Because when you're typing in Google, you're usually really thinking through what you're about to search. When you're quickly saying something to your phone, it's a very fast, hey, give me this, I want this. And so you want to start thinking, what are people searching for your business, and adding that into your AdWords and into your website and into other areas of your SEO so that you start popping up when people are voice searching your business. And then overall, it's going to boost your traffic by staying more relevant to consumers. It's more conversational. I mean, that's the direction everyone's going in. You want these unique, customized journey for every client, which isn't something that's in the trends, but it's totally something that's moving forward. But having that customized, unique journey within voice search is also going to make a difference for you. Because people are going to start having full conversations with their systems to find out their days, plan their schedules, figure out what they're doing next. Virtual assistants overseas is almost going to be a thing of the past. I literally the other day I was engaging with a system called Clara that was a full-on system that did meetings, bookings, made decisions for me as I was asking them questions. And that's where Siri and Google and all these platforms are going. And you want to be within the search as a business. You want to make sure that if someone brings up something that's like, hey, I'm looking at fishing boats, what are the best fishing boats to buy? And you happen to be a business that sells fishing boats, you want to capture those keywords that they're asking within their search and then end up being their advertised to through Facebook or Google. So it's very important to keep this in mind. Different tools you can use to optimize your business for voice search is Answer the Public, which actually gives you voice searches, most common voice searches that people are doing today. So I really recommend if you ever want to, are curious what the most common voice searches are. Google Trends, like I was saying before, this is what are people searching online most common. It doesn't have all the voice search specifically within the data, but you can search what the most common trends are within where you are currently and how they are potentially related to your business. It'll give you subtopics. So you can say, if you're a hairstylist, you can search haircut near me, and it'll tell you the trends and what states and what cities and who's searching the most and where are they searching the most and what are the other words they're searching. That'll help you a lot with how you develop your voice search. Google Search Console is very similar, but it's way more specific to the search console itself, like what are people typing in the search. Google Trends is more of people's interests and trends and overarching trends within society and locations. And then last but not least is Google My Business and your website, which I already recommended before. I'm just telling you the tool because in order to accomplish this, you need to use your Google My Business page and make sure your keywords are listed there and that your website is optimized for the type of questions that people would be looking for if they did it by voice. All right, moving on to number 5. Virtual events are here to stay. I miss in-person events. I literally was telling my wife, I don't even know, 2 days ago, where I was like, God, I just wish I was in the room. I'm so stoked for Bizfit. I got to say though, this entryway when you're walking in and like scheduling to go to the first speaker event is excellent. Shout out to Jonathan and the tech team for putting that together. It looks beautiful and it makes you feel like you're going to a real event. And that's the direction that businesses are going in the future. Virtual events and experiences have increased greatly in the last year, almost double to triple than what they were before. There's so many startups right now opening up just to provide services within the virtual event space. And if you've ever considered what you could do, a free access to consumers where you guys can host an event or an informational or do something along those lines, you will actually get more turnout now than you would have ever gotten in the past, because it's actually a part of the culture now to go to a virtual event. It used to be weird. There were so many people that would never attend like a Zoom event aside from a meeting for work. Now it's almost every single weekend, every single day. I literally was just at a bachelor party or whatever that it was a video game online. That was a virtual event, but online. So if you've ever considered of how you can expand your business with some of the trends happening today, think about how can you put up a virtual event or virtual experience that can engage your target audience. You can offer them more guest engagement, like right now, doing breakout rooms, allowing for questions, offering opportunities for guests to speak up. But things like that are very much a different approach to virtual events than they were before. What I saw in the past was a lot of people speaking and meetings and very organized. Now it's becoming a fun experience with breakouts and icebreakers and activities during the calls. So if you can host a virtual event and come up with fun, engaging ways to educate your consumers or educate the people that you want to connect with and build relationships with, it's actually essential in 2021 more than it ever was in the past. I would even put it on everyone's radar to plan one virtual event over the next 6 months. I think it's going to drastically change consumer involvement and generating revenue. I even think there's going to be ads on Zoom calls soon enough. I hope not, but I feel like it's coming. So if you want to get ahead of the trends, try to think about how you can do some virtual events and get involved in it. And some of the tools you can use is Zoom, Google Hangout and Meets. There's Skype. There's tons of them that are out there. I highly recommend Zoom. Honestly, it's one of the best tools. It's very engaging and offers a lot of features, but it's definitely a trend. A lot of people ask me, why would you say that a virtual event is a part of marketing? Well, you're marketing your business through the event. I planned multiple free workshops throughout the pandemic just because I cared and I wanted to help out. That led to so many relationships that led to leads and opportunities for myself and my business. And it is marketing. It's a different way of marketing because back in the day, virtual events were just for meetings. You could do events online, but it wasn't nearly as impactful as it was in 2020 leading into 2021. Number 6, and we're almost at the halfway mark. I hope everyone's feeling good. We've got 6 more slides to go. So number 6, personalization is key to success in 2021 and on. In the past, when you were a consumer engaging with an ad, it was an ad that was pretty generic. A lot of people saw it. It was meant for your market, but it wasn't meant for you. Today is a whole different story. Back in the day, it seemed gimmicky. Back in the day, it seemed like everybody was kind of getting the same feel from the same company. Now you have to create a more individualized buyer's journey. You want to personalize every step of the way, from who they are, their interests, their impact, and dive deeper into it. I just did a campaign for one of my partners, and what we noticed is that their market was very, very interested in pets. Even though it was a real estate company, they had a huge impact with the market of pet lovers because a portion of their communities offered access to pets and allowed for pets at a certain size. We did a focused campaign with messaging to people with dogs, cats, different types of pets, and broke it down to a very specific consumer journey from text to email to ads to ensure that everybody felt like we cared about them and their snuffles, their little puppy. And that was the difference between us converting these leads and making them feel like we really cared about them before they even bought or before they even walked in the door. And it helped. It generated 10 times more opens and acquisitions and conversions than the original campaign did to a much more broad audience because we listened to the data and created those personalized journey. It takes time. It's probably one of the most time-consuming parts of the more recent trends, but it does help a lot when it comes to ensuring that someone feels unique and special, especially now more than ever. Landing pages, chatbots, Product recommendations and content are just a few of the different areas where you can do it and incorporate it. You could do it in emails and text messages, like I was saying. With a landing page, you can change the design of it depending on who the consumer is that you're engaging. For example, when we were selling the real estate, we made sure that for dog lovers, they got dog images. For cat lovers, they got cat images. Changing that up is the type of moving forward that you need to be doing in this day and age when it comes to online marketing. And some of the tools that you can use is Optimizely and Oracle are two different platforms that allow you to actually build consumer journeys and adjust the way the flow is with your consumer communication. BigCommerce, Wix, and general customer accounts are ways to utilize your websites and online platforms to create work funnels and re-engaging communication with them. I know that Wix and e-commerce specifically, or BigCommerce specifically, have a number of follow-up steps and communication tools to make sure that you're customizing the way that you're engaging with each audience, especially if you use a platform like an Oracle or Optimizely. We use Wix pretty often because it's very easy to use for the partners that we work with, but it really makes a huge difference. And the reason I recommend customer accounts is because you don't have to give a personalized journey only in the beginning to capture the lead. You have to develop a personalized journey to retain the lead. Like I was saying before, it's really essential now more than ever. So having people develop a customer account, put their preferences in, their past purchases, their experiences and communications with you will allow you to develop that continuous follow-up that's unique and personalized to them. So if you don't have a customer account on your website or a platform that you work with, consider it. It's not that hard to build nowadays with the new platforms that are out. So streaming will take the cake. Number 7 is one that honestly I didn't even jump on or think that it was going to be so lucrative or so essential to the future of marketing. But brands have shifted a majority of their media spend, not all, but a majority of their media spend in a number of cases to streaming and gaming platforms. This includes things like YouTube, Netflix, Twitch, Vimeo. If you've ever seen these platforms, you probably watched them at home during the pandemic. But 2021 and 2022, we have seen a drastic jump and a clear-cut interest in consistent streaming live information, like from gaming, running ads in the gaming Twitch platform, to doing ads on YouTube, to putting ads on different platforms like Netflix. Hopefully in the future, we'll be opening up as well, very aggressive opportunities for ads there as well, I assume. But having yourself online through streaming with good quality content, by the way, I have to say this. This is one of those areas where if you want to do streaming ads, if you're using something like Twitch, where the player or the individual is giving the ad for you, that's one option. But if you're going, or an influencer marketing where they are, it's not really in the streaming space. But if you're going to use YouTube or another platform to provide a video ad, make sure you do something that's decent quality. There are a lot of tools out there to help you do it, and I'll list some of them here. But take the time to build something that's really going to compel to your audience. Because now more than ever, they've seen that over millions, I mean, almost 161 million streamers every single month with minimal budget costs compared to TV and radio ads. I mean, this is like everybody always asks, like Instagram, Facebook to TikTok. TikTok is like the Wild West right now when it comes to algorithms because it's so cheap to reach hundreds of people, thousands of people. Compared to Instagram and Facebook, where you're spending a lot of money, it's very restricted, especially now. I'm talking about a lot of trends. So if you have any questions, just plug them in the thing. But especially now with the way that Facebook has restricted iOS 14 users, iPhone users on certain ads that you can get, those are the kind of things that are going to start happening on TikTok soon. But right now, TikTok is the Wild West, and that's what streaming is when it is compared to TV and radio ads. Streaming is almost like the Wild West, where it's cheap. It's not super cheap, but it's affordable enough to get to a very large audience that's very specifically interested in something that you are offering. And it's at a rate that's nothing like a TV or radio ad in the past that had very limited data. TV and radio ads have very limited data. Streaming does not. Streaming is just like other platforms where it's online, you're compiling consumer information. And one of the parts I personally like about streaming is it's also platforms like Spotify. I know I listen to music on Spotify. I know the majority of people that I'm familiar with have now transitioned to Spotify from Pandora. But ads on Spotify are another huge opportunity for a very, very affordable rate. So some of the leading platforms here are YouTube, Netflix and Twitch, like I said, but there are many others. Spotify is one. Some tools that you can use. YouTube is actually run by Google. So if you plan on running a YouTube ad, use Google Ads. You can run the whole system through Google. If you're looking for something that is very affordable and want to test out your first ad on a streaming platform, I would recommend Twitch to start because it is extremely affordable. Spotify is also pretty affordable to get yourself off the ground. What's cool about both of those is with Twitch, the gamer community is very invested in the people they watch. So if that is at all an audience that you can appeal to, I recommend trying that. Some people have raised hundreds of thousands of dollars. If you're a nonprofit professional, they've partnered with people on Twitch and raised hundreds of thousands of dollars. And the same thing goes for Spotify. You can choose a podcast that's very niche to your audience and focus in on that and be able to reach consumers for a very affordable rate. And they're able to gather a lot of data on who's listening and how long they listen for. Tools to use if you're going to do video ads: Animoto, Canva, and Ripple. Canva turns anybody into a graphic designer. It's kind of wild. It's taking a lot of my people out of business, but Canva is excellent. I recommend it to everybody. There are times where I even tell the interns in our office to just use Canva really quick because it saves you so much trouble and it's free. So if you've never used it, look it up. Animoto is really excellent too. It's a little bit more, I think it's like $20 a month, but it has custom templates for videos. And Ripple also is the same thing. It's like $10-20 a month, and it has custom templates where you can literally plug and play videos together. So if you're planning on doing any ads and want to put them out to the streaming stations, I recommend using some of these tools. Canva is probably one of the most successful ones when it comes to the graphic design side. It's a big trend right now in 2021. Now, you still probably need graphic designers for higher level graphic design, and like I was saying before, make sure quality is there. So consider a production team if you're going to do it right. But it is options that you can use, and take a look at it. If you have questions, you feel free to ask me. Number 8 on my list is brands must cater to consumers' environments. The reason this is a trend is because back in the day, we would just cater to consumer interests. Not that we wouldn't consider environment, but interest was a key factor in getting and compelling to the people that we want to buy our products. People want to be spoken to, though, on a common ground. We have common stresses from 2020 to 2021. COVID isn't gone. The economy is still challenged. There's still a lot of people struggling, and there's a lot of things that are happening that are really good. There's no question. But there are a lot of people that are still dealing with the stresses and struggles. It is important to to understand the environment that your consumer's in and try to appeal to it. Be more understanding, be compassionate, connect with your consumer, make them feel like you resonate with them. Many of them lost their jobs, had family members pass away, political strifes that's been going on for years now. Offer them some reassurance. I used to show an ad here, a video of Guinness, that it was beautiful. It was during COVID, and they literally had people toasting from their home and in their yards and their offices. And they said, we've been around for over 300 years. Not 300 years, sorry, over 100 years. We're closing our doors because of COVID, but we're going to stay together. We're going to stay strong. And one day we're going to toast our glasses together again because we're Guinness strong. And that was something that I felt was powerful. It resonated with the consumer. It wasn't forcing them to buy their alcohol, but you can bet that people were interested in buying their alcohol because they felt like they understood them, connected with them. They wanted it. So think about your consumers, offer them reassurance when you can. It's not a weak point. It's an opportunity to connect. And again, I know I keep bringing up similar tools, but because they really are some of the most key tools that I've seen come to market in recent times. And some of them have been around for a while, but they've been updated extensively. So again, Google Search Console will let you know what people are searching, what struggles they're dealing with. If you're in a specific market, you could search the subject related to your business and then see what type of things people are searching for. Same thing with Google Trends. And then again, if you want to develop content that can connect and resonate with people, use Animoto, Canva, Ripple. And that'll allow you to connect. If you're using digital marketing, again, try to be creative, try to use some of these tools, and try to use the earlier tools for Buffer and Hootsuite and later to schedule it out, but make sure that you're consistent and you're not just generic in your compassion. Like we were saying before, every customer needs that personalized journey. Number 9, we're almost to the end. Number 9 is augmented reality is becoming real. I actually, funny enough, I didn't think that people would be pushing advertising to this extent on augmented reality, but I've started to see some crazy future projections of what's going to look like for marketing utilizing augmented reality. And it's already been scratching the surface, and it's almost digging in now. And a lot of people are really connected with the trend. It's about to take over the medical space and a lot of other areas of our industries. So just in 2020, there was 171 million active VR users worldwide. 171 million. AR has to be incorporated into ads at this point. It's been plugged into apps and different platforms, and people are using it to watch movies, to connect with friends, to live a simulated life almost in some cases. So if you have the chance to advertise in a space that people are hooked to the system and you know they're watching, you want to come up with creative ideas to do it. You can do it either through VR or you can do it through AR. AR is the ability to use your phones and tools to create an augmented vision or visual in front of you, or an augmented experience. And a lot of people were doing it with the Pokemon Go craze. I'm sure some of you guys saw it or had friends who dealt with it. That probably was like the little inkling that everyone was like, oh, wow, this is going to get really big. And it did. I mean, it really did. And it's starting to become even more trendy. You have businesses like Home Depot, Timberland, AMC, and Sephora all using augmented reality ads. And I know it's weird as a small business saying, all right, Ron, great idea, but we're small. What do you want from us? It's possible. And Facebook actually just put out Facebook AR advertising, a tool for small businesses to be able to develop ads like these. And I'm talking about things like if you're an interior designer, you could do what Home Depot did. They literally allow people to take their phone out in their home, select the product, and see it sitting in front of them in their living room through their phone. I have a company that I'm working with right now that develops custom vinyls, signage, and all that stuff. And we're trying to come up with experiences of how can we use augmented reality to connect with our audience. There's tons of companies doing that. I have a trophy company looking to do the same thing. I have a clothing apparel company. Actually, I connected with one in Israel a long time ago that actually was allowing people to hold their phone up and see a friend or a family member, or even in the mirror, a clothing article on you. That's augmented reality. And you want to be a part of that. That's a big trend for 2021. It's going to really evolve over the next 2 to 3 years. I don't even know how I'm going to get into it yet, but I'm thinking to myself is I got to capitalize on this market because the opportunity is huge right now. And different tools you can use is Argo, ArtKit 2.0. Those are all tools and Facebook AR advertising to develop your own augmented reality tools and advertising. And this can include even just having your listing augmented on different platforms over time. Like you see that person walking around in the streets, it looks like New York, and you can see their business listing. So you want to be involved in this. This is going to be a trend. I want to bet that majority of phones in the next few years are all going to be incorporating this into their systems, and their operating system is going to offer a lot of features through it. I know the glasses are coming out with augmented reality in the coming years. So really think about how can you be a part of this trend now more than ever. And last but not least, my favorite, influencers have influence, and they're influencing. Up to $15 billion, billion with a B, will be spent on influencers by 2022. I stop on this number every time because it shocks me. I used to, and for the audience that are on here, I'm sure that I'm right around where you guys are at with this, but I was like baffled by the idea of, oh, someone's on Instagram, they have 1,000 followers, and now they're just making money. It's crazy. It's crazy, but it is so effective. I know it sounds weird, and I'm one of those guys that I had friends who became influencers, and I was like, all right, here comes Johnny. But no, it's amazing. It's actually the ability to connect with your consumer through someone or something that influences them, that they look up to, that they feel connected to. I'd rather buy something if someone I like or look up to or trust recommends it. Because literally, how many of you go to a business listing or go to buy a product, and one of the first things you do before you buy is look at a review? Now, you're taking a review from a complete stranger who just wrote it on Google. Imagine if you get that same review from an influencer, someone you look up to and someone you follow every day. That's a huge, huge impact. And people don't notice that. I rarely use that example because people don't really understand it unless they've ever looked for a review themselves. But you are trusting a complete stranger compared to someone you know and look up to and follow every day. I can name a few people that if they said to me, hey, buy this, I'll probably look into it. I'll probably be a little more interested than I would if I just saw Amazon and some guy saying, hey, buy this. So getting yourself out there through influencers is very difficult because there's a lot of them that are not as effective or don't have the reach that you're looking for. And I'm going to give you some tools to make sure. But if you are even on the cusp of considering it, take a stab at it, but make sure you find the right people, and make sure you're using the proper content. Again, short form videos or live streams with the influencer perform the best. So if they can do a live stream with your product and post it out there, that's really successful. Or creating a short form video with them that then they post, not just like a picture or a general post with your product on their page. That does not do well. The right influencer is crucial. Like I was saying, authenticity is important. Just like I was saying before, people want genuine journeys. They want authentic influencers. A lot of influencers have tons of followers that are totally fake. A lot of influencers have a ton of followers and they're not real. Like, okay, I am going to take my energy drink company and sell it and have a health nut who's a physical trainer sell my energy drink, which happened across the board with Bang. Really respect to them because I had no idea that they would be able to get it done. But it's a difficult sell. And you know that their audience are going to feel like it's a little ingenuine. If you're a vegan health nut, and I try to sell you jerky, beef jerky, I mean, I would look at you and say, what's going on here? So when you hire an influencer, don't just hire someone because you say, oh, they have a lot of followers and they're in the city I like, and this looks great. Like, make sure they're actually genuinely interested in you or your product and can genuinely sell it. It'll lead to much greater results. And try to use promotional programs. Try to track your numbers as much as you can. If you're going to work with an influencer, offer them a code, offer them a discount link, something so you can track their performance and pay them for performance. I don't mind if you pay someone for posting it, like an initial down deposit, like any of us would take for a service or a product, but I would hold them somewhat accountable to their performance and allow them to work for their investment. But influencers do have influence. Remember, if you look at a random person's review and trust a restaurant or a business, you're bound to trust someone who's more real, that you actually look up to and listen to. And the tools you can use to get this done, these are actually kind of interesting. I love these couple tools. Are a little, the first one especially, a little pricey at times, but if you're going to dig into this, Hype Auditor is excellent. It'll give you a review of who their audience is, if they're actually liking and commenting, or is it just a Fugazi audience that's not real. How much impact and influence they have on their audience, how much does their audience actually buy products because of their influence. Hype Auditor is excellent if you're even considering it, and they'll give you like a 3-day free trial if you just want to jump on real quick and try to grab a couple names. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, those 3 areas are probably the best when it comes to hiring influencers, especially TikTok and Instagram. If you want like a consumer review, YouTube is an excellent space for that. If you want somebody who does reviews of products online. And then Redfluence and Analytica, both are analytics tracking softwares that allow you to identify how your influencer is performing. Redfluence even offers a feature where you can track incentive codes and really track their return on investment. Hype Auditor does that too. So this, to me, if I were to pick an option of something I would try, if you're trying to sell a product or a service and you think there's even an inkling of something in the back of your mind that says, all right, maybe an influencer could work, take a stab at it. Just make sure you're finding the right person. Don't spend a lot of money, but take a stab at it. I actually think this is one of those trends that you have to get on the bandwagon. It's worth being a part of. And it's one of the ones that a lot of people, even like myself, who question it even till today because of what we believe people who have influence and don't have influence have when they have a lot of followers. But it's making an influence. They're making tons of funds for businesses all over the country and all over the world. So that's my last slide. Again, I really appreciate you guys being a part of this. I have about 13 minutes left on my presentation. I want to leave about 5 minutes for you guys to refresh. Exactly, I really appreciate you guys attending this. If you have any questions, I'm just going to leave my information there on the screen. More than anything, follow me on Instagram, please. That's why I put this up here. So, but if you guys have any questions at all, feel free to reach out. Johnny, do you want to jump in?
Yes. Thank you, Ron. I really appreciate it. We do have some questions.
All right.
First question we have is, Facebook used to have Insight. Now that they no longer have Insight, what should we use?
It's actually very interesting, and I'm actually chasing and tracking this in real time. This is probably a trend. It's funny. I look at trends as opportunities, and I look at challenges as all the changes that these social media platforms do to us every day. This is something that you're going to have to really be tracking your Facebook Ads Manager and your Facebook Business Manager. Business Manager more than anything, because you'll be able to compile a lot of your data there. I would, if you haven't jumped onto, and this isn't going to give you Facebook insights per se, but it will give you traffic on your website and insight into how that traffic is correlating to your Facebook page. But really log into Google Analytics and make sure your Facebook pixel is linked up properly. That's something that's really important. And then you can at least use Google Analytics as a reference. You can use your Facebook Business Manager as a reference and your Ads Manager and kind of build the bridges between all three to get a holistic picture. I'm personally a little taken back by the change, but we're all working through it.
All right, thank you, Ron. Our next question is, what about using Clubhouse?
Clubhouse, I love that. Okay, I actually love Clubhouse. I think it's an awesome new tool. I didn't plug it in here because it hasn't really shown its world of digital marketing when it comes to paid advertising, but when it comes to marketing and building a presence for your business and a following and a relationship, excellent. I would plug it into that virtual event bucket, even though it's not really that. It's more like a hybrid between a podcast and a Zoom call. But I love it and I highly recommend it. I would try to just make sure that if you're gonna do it like a podcast. Be consistent, have a core audience, and make sure that you are appealing to your audience. If they're not following or listening, change what you're doing. Be very specific and try to work through that. Don't just go on there once in a blue moon if you're planning on using it for marketing. If you just want to learn and engage and network with people, jump on by all means whenever. It's a great tool.
All right, thank you, Ron. One last question. I'm starting up a business, a new startup.
Oh.
What would be an ideal budget for me?
Ideal budget?
Mhm.
So that's a good question, actually. There's the golden rule that people say that if you want to make a certain number, you want to take whatever your revenue is and spend 10% of it on marketing. I think it can be a little aggressive for a startup. But if you're looking to kind of see what's out there, a lot of people say if you're going to spend want to make 100 grand, spend about at least 10 grand to just get yourself out there. But I do know, in my opinion, if you were to just open the door and you're not going to hire a marketing firm, let's say you're going to do it on your own, I would try to allocate between $500 to $1,000. A little less than that, it might not be as impactful. And it really depends, again, on the platform you're using and the type of leads you're trying to get. Like I was telling you guys earlier, that company I was working with, they're in a market where there are millions of dollars spent every single day in marketing. So the cost for them to get somebody to even put their name and an email into their website is so much higher because Google is trying to make sure everybody who's spending money is getting people. So you just want to make sure that you do your research and know who's your audience, how much is really being spent. You can use SEM, Russian tools like that to understand that. And how much do I need to spend to be competitive? Because sometimes it's better to choose the free choice and grow organically than it is to try to fight with the big dogs. And sometimes it's going to be super cheap because no one's searching. Like nobody's looking for it online and you have a clear cut, or excuse me, everyone's looking for it online and no one's spending against it. And you have a clear cut chance to do it for cheap. So in layman terms though, $500 to $1,000 would be my sweet spot.
Well, Ron, again, thank you for being with us. It's a pleasure having you on. I hope that you would go ahead and enjoy the rest of the expo yourself. Remember, to all our participants out there, we do have our booths open that you can go and visit our businesses out there. They're waiting for you to come and network with them. That's another way to market, by networking with other businesses as well. All right. So, Ron, again, thank you for being here. Definitely have to have you on our podcast. We do have one here for the city that promote business as well. So we'd love to invite you on our podcast. Okay. It's a bi-weekly pre-recorded podcast, and I'll be sending you an invitation.
That's excellent. I would love it, Johnny. And thank you so much for being such an excellent host. Again, thank you to Jonathan and the tech team. Thank you, Maya, for helping put this together. And I really appreciate you guys having me on the show. Good luck with the rest of the evening, everybody.
Thank you.